Crispin, good evening and thanks for your time. So what has made the Justice Minister get involved in this case?
Thank you, Vika. You would recall that this is quite an important case to the public of South Africa in that most of the people who were convicted for crimes, and I say this loosely, which are related to FISMAS 4, have been quite vociferous in that maybe the justice system needs to look at this matter differently. And at the time, the ministry has been extremely clear that we cannot interfere with the processes of the NPA, neither can we interfere with the court processes as they take place in our courts. But we think that this is a very good opportunity to educate the public about how presidential pardons work. And we think that the Kanya Cekeshe case may be a good example to illustrate to the public that where we think that a crime did take place within a specific context, which is debatable, can be justified, then maybe a correct avenue for society to reprieve such individuals is a presidential pardon in line with our constitution.
Okay, so in this case, we have Kanya Cekeshe who says, yes, at the time, he pleaded guilty, saying this is what he did, but that he was ill-advised by his lawyers. So just so we understand this, or his lawyers at the time, not now. So just so we understand this, it would be keeping in mind or keeping to that plea, that guilty plea, but to say the reasons for that, for his actions, would that be what would count when it comes to a presidential pardon?
Yes, you have to...
Hi, Crispin.
Convicted, and you have to be convicted essentially, and that's the test. So you cannot apply for a presidential pardon whilst not being convicted. So a presidential pardon applies to people who have been convicted, and this offer has also been extended to other FISMAS 4 activists previously by the previous minister, who has said to them, you are eligible to apply for this presidential pardon where possible. Sometimes it might not be a presidential pardon that applies, but an expungement. And that is the process that has been availed to them. However, you have to apply. It's also the same process that has been extended to other activists who find themselves in our correctional facilities. Someone brought to my attention today, for instance, that you have APLA activists who are still sitting in correctional facilities, and they argue that the crimes that they committed at the time were in the interest of a greater cause. And we say, yes, well, that's all well and good, but the law currently requires you to apply for a presidential pardon. We will assist you to ensure that your application is consistent with what is required.
So, Crispin, behind all of this, if you are privy to how the minister actually feels about this case, if he's discussed it with you, does he believe that Mr. Cekeshe has been treated unfairly in this case?
The minister has been following these cases quite closely, and his view is that it's an important mechanism to educate people about at least what levers there are in the justice system. The presidential is one of them. He would not express his personal view on the decisions of the court. You know that the courts are the final arbiter in any matter that are brought before them, and we always will respect their decision.
So what would it mean for him to help him apply for a presidential pardon? Then where does this application actually go? And what would happen if it was granted? Would it mean that Kanya would be immediately let out of jail?
So it would mean that his sentence is essentially commuted. And what happens is there's a form that you're required to fill, and then you're also required to submit certain supplementary documents which nuance your arguments to illustrate why this matter should be given attention of the president. And that's a process that, in a way, from an administrative point of view, facilitated by the Department of Justice.
So would it be only, certain crimes where a presidential pardon would apply?
People would have to make it. It's looked at on a case-by-case basis. So, firstly, like we said before, there's no blanket approach to it.
Yeah.
Each person makes their case for what type of, or for why they think they require a pardon, and the president would then apply his mind based on the facts that are before him.
Does the presidential pardon come with conditions, Crispin?
I would not think it comes with conditions. It's not like a parole, because when you do set out your facts there, you clearly explain what led you to committing this crime, and then the president has to apply his mind on that. So I wouldn't think that conditions come with it. Your sentence is then essentially commuted, and you would be released, or you would be then set free. And as you were, life would continue.
And just so we're clear, Crispin, the Justice Minister is helping Kanya Cekeshe as we speak. They are in the process of applying for this presidential pardon.
As the minister has been in contact with his legal counsel to understand, to inform them that, look, now that we have a conviction, I would like you to know that there is this process, and if you come to my department for assistance, we will assist you with this process.
And how long does it usually take?
Well, it is not time barred by a specific set of conditions. There are currently some pardons which are sitting on the minister's desk for referral to the president. And normally, the practice has been that the president normally gives pardons. And I don't want to speak for the president, but the practice has been, I think, throughout memory, that the president gives pardons at the beginning of their term. They assess what conditions the facilities are in and who is in the facilities and why are they in their facilities. And then in that regard, people are then required to make presidential submissions for pardons, and then they process it accordingly. So it's within that time frame, but unfortunately, it cannot be time barred at this stage. It's safe to say that we are really looking at it quite urgently, so that at least we are able to say that we have, from the justice point of view, have put in every measure in place to ensure that the application is ready for consideration.
Okay, we'll continue to keep an eye on this and get some updates from you as we go along. Thank you very much there, Crispin Puri. He's Justice Minister Ronald Lamola as a spokesperson.